All right, we continue to wait on the Demaryius Thomas contract for the Denver Broncos. It's July 15th. Mm-hmm. So if they don't do a long-term deal with DT, he can be franchise tagged again next year.
Right.
However.
What accent's that?
It's just an accent.
Ebonics?
I'm just trying to amuse myself.
What kind of accent's
Von Miller's deal is up next year.
Yes.
So the Broncos will either have to, if they decide to keep him, franchise tag him or come to a long-term agreement with him. You can't have two players franchise tagged.
Right.
What do you do if you're the Broncos?
They're waiting to see. I think the Broncos in some ways are waiting to see what happens with Des Bryant, and reports out of Dallas are they're going to get that deal done soon. And I think that's what Demaryius Thomas wants. He wants to see what type of guaranteed money Des Bryant gets.
Yeah.
But if I had my choice between having an elite pass rusher or a wide receiver that's elite, I would absolutely take the elite pass rusher. That's an absolute.
Ding, 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 ding,
well, that's a no-brainer. I mean, even somebody who knows very little about football should be able to figure that out. I've said numerous times, in the last 10 years, there's only one Hall of Fame wide receiver to have ever won a Super Bowl, and that's Marvin Harrison. You don't need an elite wide receiver to win a Super Bowl. It's great to have one, but I'll take this a step further. Remember when Von Miller got busted for doing marijuana?
I remember it well.
Okay, and everyone was saying, man, can you really trust this guy? Can you really sink a lot of money into him? Boy, that seems very much in the rearview mirror, well beyond the horizon line. No one is saying that about Von Miller anymore. Von Miller, I think, has cleaned up his act.
He's grown up.
He is a lot more accessible in the locker room. I think he appreciates the position that he has now. He has been mentored a little bit by DeMarcus Ware. He's a different type of guy. Demaryius Thomas is a good dude, but he's not worth 36 to 40 million guaranteed. And for as much as John Elway always wanted great targets, he is probably thinking to himself, well, I won with Rod Smith.
Well,
I won with Ed McCaffrey.
Here's something else to think about, Eric. What are they paying?
And by the way, it's not a knock on Rod Smith.
What are
and
they
Ed
paying
McCaffrey.
Emmanuel Sanders?
Not that much.
$5 million a year.
Right.
Paying him $5 million a year.
Right.
DT is going to get a whole lot more than that.
Yeah.
Plus, as you said, 35 to 40 million in guaranteed money. Mm-hmm. That's more than Emmanuel Sanders' whole contract. Just DT's guaranteed money.
They're not going to franchise Demaryius' second straight.
When you have a really good quarterback, and we don't know how much longer Peyton Manning's going to play, but John Elway's always going to have a pretty good quarterback at that position. He knows how important it is. When you have a really good quarterback, do you need to pay your receivers that kind of money?
No.
How many receivers did Peyton Manning make into Pro Bowl players who were guys you had never heard of before they started playing with Peyton Manning?
I'm gonna respectfully disagree a little bit on that.
Oh, well, Marvin Harrison, sure, helped a lot.
And Pierre Garçon would be a Pro Bowler with anyone. He's that good.
But Peyton Manning made Pierre Garçon Pierre Garçon.
Pierre Garçon
went to Washington only after Peyton Manning, for big money, only after Peyton Manning made everybody realize Pierre Garçon can play.
Yeah, but Pierre Garçon is still performing. And I'm forgetting the other wide receiver who is a borderline Hall of Famer, went to Miami. What's his name? Not Pierre Garçon. Help me out. Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne is a Pro Bowler with any quarterback. Any quarterback. So you have one Hall of Fame wide receiver in Marvin Harrison, a borderline one in Reggie Wayne, and Garçon, who is excellent. You're referring to Austin Collie.
Yeah.
Austin Collie.
What, Anthony Gonzalez? No, I'm referring to Pierre Garçon, too.
Clearly, Peyton Manning makes wide receivers better.
Yeah.
No one is going to debate that at all.
He did it with Eric Decker.
Eric Decker still had a better than average year with a crappy quarterback.
What are you talking about?
Eric Decker last year?
Oh, last year. I thought you were referring to Tim Tebow.
No.
I got scared there.
Considering the quarterback that he played with in Geno Smith, Eric Decker had a Pro Bowl year.
Nobody was talking about Eric Decker last year. They were talking about him a lot when he was with the Broncos. And
well,
Peyton
Tebow couldn't throw, and that was the problem.
Yeah.
And it's a problem if you're a quarterback, if you're not that accurate.
A little bit. The NFL update sponsored by the Fantasy Sports Combine. It's not too late. Go to fantasysportscombine.com. They're doing this unbelievable fantasy camp in Las Vegas at the Wynn, July 17th to the 19th. In less than 2 weeks, Adam Schefter's going to be there. Matthew Berry's going to be there. All these fantasy football gurus from other websites. Mike Shanahan's going to be there. Brandon Stokely, Kyle Orton, all kinds of guys who can give you advice on how to draft the best fantasy football team ever. So get your tickets today at fantasysportscombine.com. You'll see me and Woody out there as well.